Or someone would ask me the other day, she's like, what are you going to do when you actually find someone really similar to you? Would you get along? I was like, gosh, no, no way.
Yep. Welcome to Shower Thoughts, everyone, where we talk about pretty much anything and everything.
It's good to be back.
Good to be back. So today I'll be asking Sam a question. Sam. Alright. So back in year 7, year 8, you'd be in a relationship when it was Facebook official.
Yeah.
In terms of, you would see that Sam is now in a relationship with X.
Yep.
So now that no one really uses Facebook as much for that, and Instagram doesn't have that sort of feature,
Yep.
when is it official?
When are you officially dating someone?
Yeah.
So are we taking it from like friends to girlfriend, boyfriend? Or is it like, when are you like serious boyfriend, girlfriend? I don't know if there's much of a difference
Is there a
between
difference?
the two. But I guess like serious like boyfriend, girlfriend would be like, you're up to the point of like meeting the family.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's a little middle
Oh,
ground before.
Let's say exclusive, so you stop seeing other people.
Okay. So essentially you're committed to that person.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a tough one. It's
Yeah.
a tough question. And it's a situation I feel like a lot of people find themselves in unwillingly. Like you don't get there on purpose.
You're just there. You don't know if you're there, but you're like, you don't communicate enough, so you both don't know if you're there, and like someone does something and then you realize you're there, and
it at some point I feel like the question usually comes up drunk at some point. And
Yeah.
you need a good answer on the spot. Yeah, I guess is one that I think it would be quite different for every scenario. Like some people would have been, friends for a long time, and then there's a really awkward, weird middle ground where they're not only like starting to get more intimate, but now they're also starting to become like more entwined in each other's lives. So like, for example, like when you start including how someone else's feelings are going to feel like in your decision making.
yeah.
Like, for example, like, oh, should I take on this extra thing? And then that takes up a lot of my time. Or should I keep myself a bit more free because I'm enjoying spending more time in someone else's company at the moment?
Okay, so what you're saying is it's maybe a bit more official when, I guess, you're thinking beyond yourself.
Yeah, when it's not just like, it's just your world anymore.
Yeah.
Like now you're starting to think like, oh, I actually want to be able to section off a little bit more of myself for someone else.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a tricky thing to know, like, when you should start doing it and when you want to start doing it.
Yeah. I feel like it kind of just happens naturally. Is that the way to say it? Like you just, I guess when you like someone, you start to think about like that. I don't know.
It's a tricky one because I guess the examples in my head, I've had a couple of different varying scenarios of like, it just gets to the point when it's like the time commitment. It's like the person wants like more time from you than you can give.
Yeah, okay.
And then you get to that point and you're like, I just don't have that. So like it's that weird kind of part where all of a sudden like the decision has to be made, like then and there on the spot. And then you're like, well, I don't know. It's a tricky one.
So you're like, all right, maybe it's time to start allocating some time for this person.
Yeah.
And that's makes it more official. Mind you, this is like if you don't actually ever ask like the question like, will you be my girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever?
Like, because that's the other end of the spectrum I feel too, is when it's just like there's a very like definitive answer.
Yeah.
And it's like but like at what point do you get to that definitive spot? It's like, I think it depends on a personality too. Like some people be like so happy just like cruising through, like not saying anything. But then some people it's like, no, it's this or it's that.
Yeah.
And I need to know. So then they know like how much time they have to commit to that person.
It's a hard one because like you might have been like dating, I guess, hooking up for like 3 months, but you're still kind of scared to ask like do you, I don't know, want to be my girlfriend, or like I feel like you might not even need to ask it, but you probably do, just so you have that certain clarification,
I guess a big thing too is having a date. Like having a particular date that's your anniversary.
Yeah, that's true. That's
So I guess at some point, no matter who you are, you need an official day to be like, oh, this is our anniversary.
Yeah.
Because like if you don't really have an anniversary, then at what point was it really particularly official?
Yeah.
Like even if you don't have a particular day that it became something, you always like choose a day anyway. Like, oh, we'll just choose this day to celebrate it. officially that would still be the day. That is like the day that you set aside to spend and celebrate being with each other.
That's actually really interesting. Like, if anyone out there is listening and they were never like officially have the date, how do you work out the anniversary date?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Like, do you just choose a number that you like? Cross your fingers and hope for the best?
Time period, like around June 12th. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's not near any other days that's important. So we'll have as much time as we want.
On a side note, would you rather an anniversary on Valentine's around then or Christmas?
Okay, I've had this dilemma before. And then Valentine's Day was pretty good because you covered both things like pretty closely.
Is that like, two birds with one stone sort of situation?
Yeah, birthday presents and Valentine's presents become the same thing if you're a cheapskate like me. But like if I had to choose, I guess I would take closer to Valentine's because Christmas is its own thing.
Yeah,
like time around Christmas is quite scarce to be able to do something that's more exciting. So like Valentine's Day, at least everyone's in like the couple spirit.
Yeah, you're already doing it.
Yeah. So I guess that brings us back to the main question of how do you know like when it's official. So for me, the big thing would be like how much like time you're spending with them.
Okay.
Like, because I guess like, you know, like for us, we've always got like a couple of like main priorities that we're working on.
Yeah.
Like, so as soon as like that person all of a sudden like I'm spending way more time with them than I am like, for example, working on the podcast or like the other things that we do.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, now this thing's like pretty serious. Like now it's actually taking up part of me. It's not just me like kind of like, squeezing it in here and there. Like now like I've dished out a bit more time for this or that. So like I think another big bit for me would be like how much am I willing to give them? Like,
okay.
As soon as they're like on like even par with other things that are important to me, like that in my mind is beneficial.
Okay. So like you're very time based there. Like in terms of time is money and
time is money. Time is value. It's our finite resource that we don't get back.
Yeah, that's true.
So if I'm giving it to someone, like I'm pretty invested that thing is going to be like pretty important to me.
Yeah.
Because we seem to take on a lot of stuff, and if something isn't that important to me, it's just not going to get much time of day.
Yeah.
And like if you know, I think we're in quite busy times of our lives at the moment. Something isn't given the light of day, it's obviously not that important to me.
That's true.
So then I wouldn't deem it as like an official thing.
Okay. So time, that whole area around time is official. Anything else?
For me, I guess I would be one of those people that's like a black or white type of thing. It's like if I want it to be official, it's like it'll probably be official.
Yeah, okay.
Like I'll make it like pretty clear. I don't like sitting in that weird middle ground.
Oh, I don't know.
Like I've sat there before, and like it's just a strange. It's just a weird time.
Yeah, I hate that area, like that no man's land. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah. And then the thing is, like, you find yourself there more often than you would like. And then I think it's just easy sitting there.
Yeah.
It's kind of comfortable. You don't have to make any hard decisions. And then, but like, you know, as I found recently, all of a sudden you have to make a hard decision. And then it's just like, well, it would have been nice if there was a bit of clarity, you know, going into this before. But there wasn't.
No. That's probably something I've learned as I've gotten older, that like, clarity is good.
Yeah.
Like
clarity just means everyone knows like where everyone sits.
Yeah.
It's like, are we on the same page? It was like totally different. But in a way, I think that some situations also like warrant like not thinking about things too seriously.
Yeah, like what sort of situation?
Yeah. Like for example, if you don't really know, like if either of you is not really like certain of what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really nice having a period of not being official. And like just testing the waters, being like, oh, I don't mind giving them some of my time here. Or like that was a really nice way to spend my weekend or like my day off.
Yeah.
But then you can you also get like that little way of backtracking back out if it doesn't fit very well.
Way out. I feel like in those sort of situations, you kind of know you really like this person when you sort of hear about them either like talking to someone else or even hooking up with someone else, and you feel like that pain in your heart. You're like, oh, okay, maybe I do really actually like.
And you could have made it official in the past. Yeah. And you didn't. And then all of a sudden, you know, yeah, and once again, it's like a case by case scenario. Because like let's say for example, you've just like all of a sudden there's like a massive spark, you know, that ignites into like a big flame of like connection really quickly. Like, I get the feeling that's when you kind of want a little bit more time to not make it official. Because even though, like, the connection could be as strong as it's, you know, this could be it. This could be, you know, the most amazing thing ever. I feel like you still need a bit of, like, cool-off time where it's not official.
Okay.
Whereas, like, even though, like, the commitment's kind of there, you both also know you need a little bit of, like, cool-off time to let the novelty of, like, that first part of the relationship, like, wean off a bit more.
See if it's, like, actually, like, truly, like, what it is. Not just, like... You just met someone cool.
Exactly, and they just feel the scenario like pretty well at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, at least if you kind of live in that little part where like, oh, it's okay, we don't have to know what it is. It doesn't have to be anything.
Yeah.
Then you can kind of just like assess to see if it like fits well in the scenario, or like if that ship's gonna float or sink essentially over like 3 months time versus after like a month and a half. Like, they're two very different things.
So yeah, you need a, like, I guess, a break-in period.
Yeah. Which is where like that non-official part comes in. But then how long do you let that go on for?
That's the thing.
I guess that's the main part of this question, isn't it?
That's the like, I mean, I was been in that position many a times, but like more recently, yeah. And like when I was in that position, like where I wasn't sure what was going on, and like didn't know if official or like not official, or like to be official or to not be official, just like I've
been there for those conversations too, and there's never a good answer.
Yeah.
And you know what the worst part is? No one can make your mind up for
exactly.
you. No one can give you that golden answer of like a yes or no. It's only you that gets to choose.
Like, you get to a point, I think it's like when you know, like if you feel it, like all right, this.
Yeah.
And sometimes like. Maybe for me, like, I was, like, quite scared of, like, commitment and, like, just jumping into relationships. And, like, it had to be, like, all right, let's just do something that we haven't done before. Like, just change it up.
I guess that brings in the question, too, though, of the idea of you just choosing by yourself and just, like, putting, like, what you think out there. It's been like, I'm gonna say what I want. Let's say, for example, I want something serious. And just say, like, I want you to be my girlfriend. Like, that's it. That's the be all and end all. Or you could be like, let's make a decision together. Like, like, there's obviously two different ways of going about it. Like, coming together and say, like, oh, let's work on this together as a team, so we can both understand where we sit. Or does one person just go for glory and just, like, say what they want to say on the backing that the other person will be feeling the same way too?
That's like in those sort of introductions, like, oh, hey, this is Sam, this is my boyfriend. Huh? What?
I'd be lying to you, so they hadn't been
like,
spotting me before.
This is my friend. He, I think you're dating. Well, like, I think the best option would be like that, talking together about it.
Yeah.
And that's probably something that happens as you kind of get older a bit more.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're younger, it's just like, kind of like them, and you're like, okay, will you be my girlfriend? They're like, what? Will you be my girlfriend?
But in another way, that springing it on them in a random scenario, it's kind of just like taking a stab in the dark and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
it's a huge stab.
It's not a bad way of just being like, all right, I might get in trouble here. Or we could take it to the next step, and then we haven't had... Because, like, for some people, these conversations are super hard to have. They just don't want to have it.
Mm.
They just want to quickly get to the next stage without, like, the emotional distress of, like, being like, oh, like, are we both going to be on the same page? So sometimes that might just be, like, the needed, like, push over the edge of the cliff of commitment.
Yeah, look, it's... that one's, like, going all in. You haven't seen your cards. They haven't seen their cards. You can either... win it or really lose it.
Man, like, to be fair though, I'd love to be like a little fly on the wall in those conversations. Yeah. Like, for example, that little, because you can't react at the time. You know, you have to react in about 5 minutes time once it's all cooled down, and like you're all of a sudden you just by yourselves in the corridor. And you're like, so you just called me your girlfriend.
What's going on?
What's going on? They just said like, yeah, I guess that's it now. I guess we're dating. And you write down that date. That's the day. That's the day it'll happen, baby.
I reckon probably a lot has happened like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've I guess because I've had one like big proper relationship.
Yeah.
Like spanned like about 2.5 years. And we had a specific date because when I asked like her out to be my girlfriend specifically, and yeah, it wasn't the most perfect of ways of doing it. I definitely caved on the spot, and that's a story for another day. Everybody, you're gonna have to catch up with the rest of the episodes.
I want that now.
I think you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I definitely would know it, but I feel like I forgot the story.
That's good news for me. And yeah, so we always had the day. We always had the day that it happened. And funnily enough, for me, it was on the leap year day.
Oh, so like the 29th of Feb.
Yeah, so it was on. It happened like once every 4 years. And take it what you will. Yeah, it was like, if there's no day, am I buying presents?
It doesn't exist.
Exactly. But yeah, I think we've covered that pretty well. It's a hot topic for debate.
Yeah.
And there's no like straight answer, but I think it's pretty important like having a specific date and like coming if one of you isn't just going to make that bold move, coming together and talking about it so everyone's on the same page. If you know you need more time, or if you know it's just time to commit, then you're both at least all in on either decision.
Yeah. It sounds like the key takeaway is communication is key.
Communication is key.
Communication wins all here.
Yeah. And then I think it's just being brave sometimes. Because either way, if that person cares about you, like the fear of rejection or like feelings getting hurt shouldn't be that bad.
Yeah.
But still, it's a scary thing. It's a pretty scary thing.
It is so. Yeah. Well, you did well.
Thank you. Yeah, there were definitely a few like confusing bits because there's a couple of grey areas that I still can't talk about.
For another day.
For another day.